MercyMe is an American contemporary Christian music band founded in Greenville, Texas. The band consists of vocalist Bart Millard, keyboardist James Bryson, percussionist Robby Shaffer, bassist Nathan Cochran and guitarists Michael Scheuchzer and Barry Graul. The band formed in 1994 and released 6 independent albums prior to signing with INO Records in 2001. The group first gained mainstream recognition with the crossover single, I Can Only Imagine, which elevated their debut album, Almost There, to double platinum certification. Since then, the group has released 6 additional studio albums and a greatest hits album, 10. The group has also had 13 consecutive top 5 singles on the Billboard Christian Songs chart, with 7 of them reaching number 1. MercyMe has won 8 Dove Awards and has had numerous Grammy Award nominations. On April 8, 2014, the band released its 8th studio album titled Welcome to the New. History. Formation and early years. Born into a family as the son of Southern Methodist University All-American player Arthur Millard and the brother of a football player, MercyMe's lead singer, Bart Millard wanted to become a football player, yet his football career ended when he injured his ankles in a high school football game. As a result of his injury, Millard took choir as an elective. During his freshman year in college, Bart had to endure the death of his father. His youth pastor, who had moved from Texas to Florida, invited Bart to work with his youth group's worship band. Millard accepted his invitation and went on to work on the video and sound systems for the group. On a day when the band's lead singer got sick on stage, Bart took the challenge of singing for the group. James Bryson played piano for that band and later went on to play with Bart Millard and the worship band on a trip to Switzerland. This trip became the cause of Millard and Bryson's consideration of playing music full-time. Millard and his friend, guitarist Mike Scheuchzer, moved to Oklahoma City to form MercyMe with Bryson. The trio set up a studio and a living area in an old abandoned daycare center. Bassist Nathan Cochran and drummer Robby Shaffer joined the band later on, accompanying the band on releasing 6 independent projects before signing with INO Records in 2001. Unlike their first 3 major label albums, their earlier indie projects tended to orient more towards rock rhythms. The group's name, MercyMe, originated during Bart's time as a youth ministry intern in Florida. Concerned that her grandson was home whenever she called, Bart's grandmother would exclaim, "Well, MercyMe, why don't you get a real job?" Almost There, spoken for and undone. After signing with INO Records, the band released its first major debut album, Almost There. The single I Can Only Imagine earned the band a Dove Award in 2002 for Song of the Year. However, it was not until 3 years after its release before the song began to gain mainstream success, topping the Billboard 200 sales chart for 7 weeks, and peaking at number 71 on the Hot 100, number 33 on the mainstream Top 40, number 27 on the Adult Top 40, number 5 on the Adult Contemporary, and number 52 on the Country Songs charts. The success of the single ultimately propelled Almost There to being certified double platinum, representing sales of over 2 million albums, as well as the single itself being certified platinum. In 2002, MercyMe released Spoken For, which peaked at number 2 on the Christian Albums chart. The album's 2 singles, Spoken For, and Word of God Speak, went on to peak at number 1 on Christian radio charts, with Word of God Speak spending a record 22 weeks atop the newly created Billboard Christian Songs chart. The album was eventually certified gold by the RIAA. Spoken For earned the band 3 Dove Awards, but was to a certain extent overlooked by the attention that I Can Only Imagine was receiving in the mainstream markets at the time. In 2003, guitarist Barry Graul, who had previously been with the Christian hard rock band White Cross, joined MercyMe, giving MercyMe a second guitarist to provide greater depth on their 3rd studio album, Undone. In 2004, the band headlined the Imagine Tour with fellow artists Amy Grant and Bebo Norman. In addition to headlining the Imagine Tour, MercyMe released their 3rd major label album, Undone, which peaked at number 12 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the Christian Albums charts, their highest debut on the chart at that point. The album spawned 3 successful singles: Here With Me, Homesick, and In the Blink of an Eye, which topped the Christian Songs chart. The album itself won a Dove Award for Pop Contemporary Album of the Year at the 36th GMA Dove Awards, and was certified gold by the RIAA. MercyMe also released a live video album, MercyMe Live, in 2004, which eventually was certified platinum by the RIAA. The Christmas Sessions and Coming Up to Breathe. In 2005, MercyMe launched a tour with Jeremy Camp, The Afters and Monk and Eagle in support of their album, Undone. After releasing Undone in 2004, the band took a time to rest before releasing their next big release, so the band, seeing an opportunity, decided to work on a Christmas record. The Christmas Sessions was recorded and ended up being released on September 27, 2005. The Christmas Sessions spawned 7 songs which hit the top 40 on the Christian Songs chart, and 4 of these charted in the top 40 of the Adult Contemporary chart. The album itself peaked at number 64 on the Billboard 200 and number 3 on the Christian Songs chart. To promote the Christmas Sessions, MercyMe had a Christmas tour with Stephen Curtis Chapman, who also released a Christmas album that year titled All I Really Want for Christmas. In 2006, MercyMe released Coming Up to Breathe, which charted at number 13 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the Christian Albums chart. Although the band had earned a reputation for being an adult contemporary group with their other albums, the group decided to make Coming Up to Breathe a more rock-oriented album, in the vein of their earlier grunge-influenced albums. As such, it also peaked at number 5 on the Top Rock Albums chart and number 13 on the Top Alternative Albums chart, their only chart appearances on these records to date. Coming Up to Breathe spawned 3 radio singles, 2 of which reached the top spot on the Christian Songs chart. So Long Self, and Hold Fast also both reached the top 30 on the Adult Contemporary chart. Coming Up to Breathe was eventually certified gold by the RIAA. In support of Coming Up to Breathe, MercyMe headlined the Coming Up to Breathe tour, along with Audio Adrenaline and Phil Wickham, seeing half their shows sell out 2 weeks into the tour. All That Is Within Me, Coming Up to Breathe, Acoustic and 10 Equals. On November 20, 2007, MercyMe released All That Is Within Me. Millard, the band's lead singer, had believed that All That Is Within Me was going to be a worship album with half of the songs being cover songs and the other half original songs. However, when the band got in studio, they ended up having written all the songs found in this album. Upon release, the album peaked at number 15 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the Christian Songs chart. The album contained 3 singles, all of which reached the top 3 on the Christian Songs chart. Finally Home also peaked at number 17 on the Adult Contemporary chart. All That Is Within Me was also certified gold by the RIAA. In 2008, the band released Coming Up to Breathe, Acoustic, an acoustic version of their earlier release Coming Up to Breathe. On April 7, 2009, MercyMe released their first Greatest Hits compilation, 10, a double album consisting of 15 studio recordings and 11 live or concept videos, as well as several documentaries on the band. The album charted at number 18 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the Christian Songs chart, although no singles were released from the album. The Generous Mr. Lavoul and the Worship Sessions. MercyMe's 6th studio album, The Generous Mr. Lavoul, was released on May 4, 2010. The album itself peaked at number 3 on the Billboard 200 and number 1 on the Christian Albums chart. The album has also spawned 3 singles: All of Creation, Beautiful, and Move, all of which reached a top spot on the Christian Songs chart. Upon wrapping up the Generous Mr. Lavoul tour, MercyMe was asked to perform the national anthem at a Dallas Cowboys game. In 2011, the band released The Worship Sessions, a worship album that was released exclusively at family Christian bookstores, and keyboardist James Bryson took a leave of absence. The Hurt and the Healer and Welcome to the New. The Hurt and the Healer was released on May 22, 2012 by Fairtrade and Columbia Records. The album debuted at number 7 on the Billboard 200, selling 33,000 copies. Welcome to the New, the band's 8th studio album, was released on April 8, 2014 and is produced by David Garcia and Ben Glover. Charity. In 2005, MercyMe participated in a benefit concert at Belmont University with various other country, gospel and contemporary Christian artists for the people affected by the Asian tsunami. In 2009, MercyMe conducted a tour in partnership with Compassion International and Imagine a Cure in order to raise money to help kids with diabetes through Imagine a Cure and people with medical needs around the world through Compassion International. The Go Foundation, I Would Die for You, a song from their fourth album, Coming Up to Breathe, was dedicated to B.J. Higgins, a young boy who contracted bubonic plague on the mission fields of Peru. The song has been used to raise money for the Go Foundation, which was born out of Higgins' untimely death. Tour bus accident. On Saturday, August 8, 2009 at approximately 1:15 a.m. in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the MercyMe tour bus was traveling through an intersection on a green light when an oncoming passenger vehicle made a left turn on red into the path of the bus, which resulted in a collision killing 2 passengers of the car and the unborn baby of the vehicle's driver. MercyMe was to perform at Six Flags St. Louis, but the park issued a statement saying the show was rescheduled because the band was involved in a vehicle accident in Indiana. Despite news reports claiming that the band remained silent during the days after the crash, not contacting the family of the deceased and injured, MercyMe did release a statement through their publicist the day of the crash. Members Current Bart Millard, vocals, Nathan Cochran, bass guitar, Michael John Scheuchzer, guitars, Robby Shaffer, drums, Barry Graul, guitars. Past James Jim Bryson, keyboards. Discography. Awards and accolades. GMA Dove Awards, 2002 Song of the Year I Can Only Imagine, 2002 Pop Contemporary Recorded Song of the Year I Can Only Imagine, 2004 Song of the Year Word of God Speak, 2004 Artist of the Year, 2004 Group of the Year, 2004 Pop Contemporary Song of the Year Word of God Speak, 2005 Pop Contemporary Album of the Year A Euro Undone, 2005 Special Event Album of the Year The Passion of the Christ, Songs, ASCAP Awards. 2003 Bart Millard awarded Christian Songwriter of the Year at the 25th Annual ASCAP Christian Music Awards. American Music Awards, 2004 Favorite Contemporary Inspirational Artist, 2010 Favorite Contemporary Inspirational Artist, Billboard Magazine Decade Awards, Number 1 Christian Song of the Decade, Word of God Speak, Number 16 Christian Song of the Decade, Here With Me, Number 19 Christian Song of the Decade, God With Us, Number 35 Christian Song of the Decade, You Reign, Number 48 Christian Song of the Decade, In the Blink of an Eye, Number 49 Christian Song of the Decade, Bring the Rain, Number 4 Christian Album Artist of the Decade, Number 4 Christian Album of the Decade, Almost There, Number 38 Christian Album of the Decade, Undone, Number 46 Christian Album of the Decade, Spoken For. References. External links, official website, MercyMe at Billboard.com.